Tonight, Muslim attires turn heads on the famous catwalk of London's Fashion Week. And Saudi Arabia's response to growing speculation regarding normalization with Israel. We cover stories about new findings on investigation on unmarked graves, march against police brutality in France, and details about an Islamophobia conference in Winnipeg. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Aishah Ashraf. A British Muslim fashion designer with Yemeni roots has recently presented her unique blend of sportswear and Islamic staples at London Fashion Week in the United Kingdom. Kazna Oscar, who grew up in Sheffield, UK, has combined traditional and modern clothing in a way that is compatible with Islamic principles. Oscar says she did not have to look far for inspiration. She says she developed her ideas after observing the contrast between her grandmother, who wore traditional hijab and abaya, and her cousin, who wore a tracksuit. During the fashion show, Kazna made sure that the essence of her hometown was felt. Her designs drew a diverse audience. Visitors enjoyed traditional Yemeni tea and cookies. They were also entertained with a documentary highlighting the Yemeni community. A 2022 report by the British Fashion Council highlights that the industry's leadership is predominantly male and white. It says the UK's fashion industry is not, quote, prioritizing diversity and inclusion. Oscar says, among others, a significant reason is lack of financial support for aspiring designers. She says she was able to make her debut with the help of a British Fashion Council fund for emerging British talent. Oscar is also exploring modest streetwear. This is a growing fashion area with clear interest from big brands like Nike. However, many in Muslim communities believe she has a long way to go. As speculation grows about U.S. brokered normalization agreements between Israel and the Islamic world, Saudi Arabia and Pakistan have clarified their positions. Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister, Prince Faisal bin Farhan, has stressed the importance of a just and comprehensive solution to the Palestinian issue. Speaking at the recent session of the UN General Assembly, he said that security in the Middle East depends on a two-state solution to the Palestinian issue. He said the solution should be consistent with the resolutions on international legitimacy and the Arab Peace Initiative. It should recognize the right of the Palestinians to an independent state with East Jerusalem as its capital. The news comes after Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen has hinted at the possible normalization of relations with 6 or 7 Islamic states. Although Cohen has not mentioned the countries, there has been speculation that Pakistan is among these countries. Pakistan's acting foreign minister, Jalil Abbas Gilani, has clarified that Pakistan's position will be decided on the basis of its national interests and the interests of the Palestinian people. Cohen's earlier diplomatic misstep with Libya led to the dismissal of Libya's foreign minister and strained relations. At the OIC six-party panel meeting in Palestine, Pakistani foreign minister has stressed that Israel must be held accountable for its continued aggression and violations of international law. He welcomes the General Assembly resolution, UN, which asks the International Court of Justice for an advisory opinion on the legality of the Israeli occupation. He says Pakistan remains concerned about these developments and has reiterated the call for an independent Palestinian state. Recently, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in his speech that peace with Saudi Arabia could be a sign of peace between Muslims and Jews worldwide. Indian authorities have released a prominent Kashmiri leader after 4 years of house arrest for spearheading campaigns against Indian rule in the disputed region. Mirwais Umar Farooq has been under house arrest since 2019. This is the same time when India annexed and divided the disputed region of Jammu and Kashmir into 2 centrally administered territories. Farooq is a cleric and the chairman of the All Parties Hurriyat Conference. The party is the main separatist group in the region. A statement issued by the Srinagar Mosque says that senior police officials visited Farooq on Thursday, releasing him from house detention. The officers allowed Farooq to this past Friday's prayer at Jamia Masjid in Srinagar. During a sermon in the mosque, Farouk called for the liberation of Kashmir. He also called for the release of those detained during the 2019 crackdown. The Himalayan region of Kashmir has been divided between India and Pakistan since independence from British rule in 1947. An investigation into unmarked graves and missing children in British Columbia has led to a discovery of 158 deaths in a First Nations tribe. The investigation has uncovered shocking and tragic details of child death and abuse. Researchers have provided Stalo tribe members and the media with an update Thursday on fieldwork on sites of 3 residential schools, cemeteries, and a First Nation hospital. According to the researchers, most of these children died at the hospital. Researchers say the children reportedly died of diseases such as tuberculosis. They said documents show other deaths recorded as accidents. Several causes of death are unknown. The researchers have faced significant obstacles, including a lack of support and access to important information from the federal government and the religious institutions that operated the schools. Chief David Jimmy of the Squeala First Nation says these obstacles and the lack of long-term financial support on the progress of the research have a negative impact on the Indigenous community. Testimonies from survivors have revealed harrowing accounts of atrocities such as sexual assaults, starvation, secret burials, and other forms of abuse and neglect. For more on an apology to a Black gymnast, stay tuned. The French are again taking to the streets to protest against police brutality. Thousands of demonstrators took to the streets on Saturday to denounce police violence and systemic racism. These protests come 3 months after the death of 17-year-old Nahel, killed by a police shooting in June. The appeal to protest had been launched by associations, trade union, and political organizations to encourage the locals to participate in a united march. At the demonstration, families demanded justice for the lives lost by police brutality. French intelligence report shows risk of clashes expected in Nice, a city at the footsteps of the French Alps. In total, more than 1,000 police officers are mobilized in Paris. The French Minister of Interior has ordered the authorities to be, quote, extremely vigilant. And in related news, French police are accused of rejecting a Muslim man's application to the police academy because of a prayer mark on his forehead. The incident occurred 3 years ago in 2020. However, the news started circulating after Karim, the 24-year-old applicant, spoke to the media about it. Media reports show that Karim had successfully passed all tests required for the police academy, except the final one. During the morality examination, Karim was questioned about the mark on his forehead. A prayer mark is usually formed on the forehead of Muslims from repeated and prolonged sujood. This happens when the forehead touches the ground during prayer, resulting in skin change. Karim responded that the mark was due to his religious prayers. 7 months later, however, his application was rejected. The reason cited was, quote, concerns about the duty of neutrality essential to a police officer. Karim then filed for an appeal. He said he had been honest and open about his faith. The response from the police academy did not clearly state as to why Karim's application was disqualified. French media reports the decision was made because of the mark on Karim's forehead. This incident is linked to growing concerns about Islamophobic sentiments in France. The French government has recently taken measures with perceived Islamophobic undertones, including a ban on hijabs in schools and public institutions. The headscarf ban has been in place since 2004. A young Black Irish gymnast has received an apology from Gymnastics Ireland after being excluded from a medal ceremony more than a year ago. The video, which has been circulating recently on social media, has prompted allegations of racial bias. Footage shows an adolescent Black competitor being passed over while her fellow gymnasts receive medals. It has caught the attention of Olympic champions Simone Biles and Jordan Chiles. They call the incident, quote, heartbreaking and hurtful. Since then, Gymnastics Ireland contacted the official involved, initially seeking an informal resolution. After a series of interactions and a brief legal pursuit, mediation was sought with Sport Dispute Solutions Ireland. Both parties reached an agreement in August. The official involved has not renewed his membership with Gymnastics Ireland. He expresses regret for the oversight. Gymnastics Ireland says that the incident was not intentional and that the gymnast received her medal shortly after. Gymnastics Ireland has more than 36,000 members. Most of these members are children and youth. The association describes itself as, quote, a very diverse community of members of all races, ages, genders, and socioeconomic groups. Activists are stressing on the importance of solidarity with Indigenous groups in the fight against hatred and discrimination. During an Islamophobia conference in Winnipeg, Manitoba, a Muslim organization pointed out the growing number of hate crimes against Muslims in Canada. Data from 2016 to 2021 shows a disturbing level of racist attacks against Muslims, possibly the highest among G7 nations. Andrew McLean of the University of North Dakota says these attacks leave behind psychological toll, often resulting in anxiety and fear. Shahina Siddiqui from Islamic Social Services Association hosted the event. Siddiqui says that while major hate crimes make headlines, daily microaggressions often go unnoticed. These range from covert derogatory remarks to blatant attacks, such as calling Muslims terrorists. Siddiqui says the current targeting of Muslims is more deliberate and profound. She is stressing the importance of collective efforts. Indigenous activists also attended the conference. Thank you for watching. Our news is produced by Muslim Network TV, which is a not-for-profit organization. We need your support for donations. Please scan the QR code on our broadcast or visit muslimnetwork.tv to donate now, so we can continue to amplify the voices of Muslims in Canada and abroad.